Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Tonight I'm making houses as a decoration and talk spot in one of my journals. So I'm doing this as a voiceover, so it might not be absolutely perfect, but I think we will manage. So I'm using up a lot of scraps and cutting up squares and triangles to make these small houses. As base on the two in the left, I have used one of my watercolor paintings, and the other one is just a really old book page. And the one I'm working on at the moment also is a book page from 1822. So they have a bit of soul, these small houses. Now I'm taking a scrap from a piece I have embossed with some flowers on. I'm going to make the rooftop. So I just take the measurements of the width of the house, and then I cut a little rooftop. As this was a scrap, it was a bit that has been torn off one of the edges, so I will just put on a small extra piece so we can get the whole roof in place. If you feel that these are a bit fragile, you can just back them off with some paper that is a bit sturdier. In case you want to use them as writing space, you can just put a coffee dyed paper or something that is a bit not so patterned, plain. Then you can use them as small tags. That's also cute. I think I'm going to use mine as talk spots or kind of belly bands. So I'm not thinking I need to do some backing on them. I might do some embroidery though, but that will be later on. Now we are going for the chimney, so I'm just putting that behind the rooftop, peeking out like that. The window is also pieces of paper in 2 layers. First one that is patterned, and then I have used pieces of the white embossed paper just to give it some dimension. The next one, I'm going to use a digital paper I have made myself with some background paper and a lace. So this will be the house itself, and then we are going to do a rooftop on top of that. So I'm just trying to get it even here. It was a bit uneven and not so straight, but I'm using my scissors to give it a little feeling of old and torn, not so perfect. We are using scraps and we are having fun, so that's the most important. I'm gluing this on another piece of old book paper to get it some dimension and the feeling of layering. This really old book paper is fragile, so to get a even back and make sure that it will hold, I'm just layering it like this. Going for creases and then rip it off so it won't be cut and totally straight. I want the rough feeling. Putting on a bit more glue to be sure it is held in place. I probably also will do some sewing on these, just to make them feel a bit more worked on. So both sewing and embroidery will probably be done on these later. But that's optional, so if you don't like to embroider and don't have a sewing machine, just go with glue and that will be totally all right to do them like that. So here I'm trying which piece I want to use as the rooftop. I have a few different scraps to try on. I'm gluing these paper together so I will get it a bit thicker. You know me and layering. I love to layer things. I can't say why, but it gives it the special feeling of soulful and handmade. And I almost every time I leave a little bit of the paper I glue it on, so you really can see that it's layered on something else. I liked it to be seen, so I'm sure that it will really look like it's layered. The brown paper is a bit strong to rip, so this time I needed to cut. I tried to rip it, but it didn't go so well, so then I took the scissors. You can soften the edges by using your scissors later on if you feel that this will be necessary. And then I'm taking my scissors and cut the sharp edges. I don't like that. I want it to be soft and a bit rounded. So down it goes. There are a lot of different ways to do these small houses, and you can use almost anything. You can use textile. You can make them in other ways, length way, if you want it like a more like an ordinary family house. This looks more like people that lives in flats. but just use your imagination and have fun. I know that Ruby and Pearl EXO has made these houses as Christmas houses, and she have decorated them with some glass glitter. That's also very nice. You will see later on I'm also going to decorate the edges on this, but not with the glass glitter. I'm going for all year around houses to have in my little blue journal. I have a few pieces already done, but a few more is always needed. And I'm also working on the folio, so I plan to do that tonight, but then this idea about the house came and I fell for the urge to try it. And I didn't plan on do any recording, so that's why I just recorded it, and now I'm doing the voiceover for you instead. This will be another house with a door, so this is a little bit different in style. Some do them without any windows at all, and just kind of the shape of a house. I'm going for a rounded door top. So I will try this to round it a bit even, so I'm bending the edges against each other, so I will cut it on both sides at the same time. Then it's easier to get it even. A bit of distress ink. Using vintage photo on this one. I want to have it a bit darker on the edges so it will stand out. It will go on to the white lace, so then it's nice if it has this really dark edge. I'm satisfied with that, so then I'm just gluing it down. A little bit too much near the ground, so I'm lifting it up a bit. I'm going to decorate it with some flowers in the garden, so I don't want the door to be totally down on the edge. I'm going for a little window on the door, so I need to round that too, and that will be a very small piece. Bit too big. Cut off a little bit more. Sorry, I'm out of the frame here, but I'm just rounding the little window, so it will be a little bit smaller to fit the little door. And cutting the edges that are sharp to give it a little more soft feeling. You know me and the details. And the door got a little white window. And a couple of windows will also go onto this house. And I decided to go with the white. To match the window in the door. I thought for a while that I would go with the Christmas theme, me too, but then I realized I want to be able to use this journal all around, so not any Christmas theme in the little blue journal. But I'm thinking to do maybe a tutorial series, a kind of December daily, where I'm making one thing with a tutorial each day until Christmas. If that's something you would like, please give me a thumbs up and maybe a little comment. Yes, I want a December daily to learn some more things. There will probably be things you have already seen, some of them, but you can maybe be reminded of things you have forgot. I seems to forget a lot of things. These houses was one of my favorite when I saw them on Ruby and Burlaxo pages last Christmas, but they haven't been made until now. Heather did a great job with the houses she made. So I saved a picture from that to remind me, but then I forgot about the picture, and here we are. 1 year later, we are making the small window houses. So, instead of the glass glitter that Heather used, I'm going for gold. That's more as many of my things are old and vintage and antique. And they often use gold on edges and small decorations to make them more exclusive. And in some way I think the glitter is more like Christmassy. If I use gold, I can use them more all around the year. So I'm doing the same on all the other, putting gold on all the edges on the 4 houses. So now all the 4 houses has been gold edged, and now I'm feeling for a bit of textile decorations. So we are going to put a few thin laces on the rooftop on each of every house, and also small pieces of lace on top of the windows and the doors, just so we get this nice feeling of textile and not just paper. So I'm just taking very thin laces and put them as along the edge of the rooftop. Try to not cover the gold, so I'm putting them a little bit in on the side so that we can see the gold outside the lace. I will show you a close-up in a little minute. Taking off the excess and just make sure it's on the right spot so we can see the gold outside it. The next step will be some decoration on the window. So I'm putting just the small pieces of lace in the middle of the white piece that's on the windows, just to give it some dimensional feeling. You can touch it and feel the lace instead of a plain paper. Like that. Kind of cute, I think. So the next step will be to put on a few flowers. So it looks like we have decorated the garden. So I have this little lace piece that is perfect as small flowers. But I realize I have not done any doorknobs, so before I put the flowers in the garden, I will just take my pen and do a little dubbing with gold where the doorknob will be. It should also be cute with a little brad. So we get that metal feeling. But for now I will go with the gold. As I'm going for top spots on these, I don't want anything to be in the way when you use them and put something behind them. So let's go for the lace that will be used for another piece of flower. Going for blue ones this time. You can see on the two to the left, I have already put on white ones. Now we are going for some blue laces. That's optional. You can use white all over, or leave this until you are going to use them. Then you know which color you are going to use. But as I'm using these in the blue journal, I can put these blue ones on right away. A little bit more glue to get them to stick. Should have needed some pliers, but I have some small pliers that is perfect to hold the small pieces with. Deciding that blue will be perfect on the other one too. So going with the same color on number 4 too. And this will be the last thing we do on these in this recording. But then it's optional if you would like to do something more like sewing or embroidery. And you will be able to see these in place in the journal in a few days when we are putting them in. So I hope you like this little idea, and please try it. It was really fun to use your imagination and do a small houses. So bye bye from Sweden.